Good evening, good morning, wherever you may be around the globe, in the chat room, on the phone lines, on the moon, on Mars, wherever you are. I welcome you all. This is Late Night in the Midlands. I'm Michael Vera, and we've got a pretty good guest tonight. She's been here a couple times before. She's coming back. She is Betsy Lewis. She is our guest tonight, and we will be talking about her new book, Earth Energy, Return to Ancient Wisdom, again by Betsy Lewis. So should be an interesting show tonight. Folks, where our equipment is on its way, so we should be all set by, I'm guessing, Thursday of this week. So hopefully we'll have everything in order by then. I'm expecting to, hoping that we even might have things in order by tomorrow night's show, but I'm not so positive about that. Anyways, folks, we've got a great show planned here tonight. It is a podcast, but nevertheless, it will be a really good show. First, let's hit a little bit of news here. Earth's inner core has its own inner core. Scientists have discovered that there is another core nestled deep within the inner core of our planet. Despite being situated directly beneath our feet, there is still a great deal that we don't know about the inside of the Earth. Its interior structure is thought to be composed of the crust, the mantle, the outer core, the inner core. Jules Verne's famous novel, Journey to the Center of the Earth, portrayed the inside of the planet as a huge cavern containing a vast ocean. However, in reality, the inner core is a solid ball of metal, a hellish place where the temperatures are the same as those on the surface of the sun. Now, scientists from the US and China have added a whole new chapter to our understanding of the planet's interior by revealing that the inner core actually contains an even smaller inner core of its own, which is made up of a different type of iron crystals than those in the inner core's outer shell. The fact that we have two regions that are distinctly different may tell us something about how the inner core has been evolving, said Professor Eggsdong Song from the University of Illinois. Say that 3 times. It may tell us about how our planet formed, its history, and our dynamic processes of the Earth. That is linked under News and Discovery on LateNightInTheMidlands.com, as all of this will be that we're going to get into here in this first, 20 minutes, I guess. New project aims to message nearby worlds. Here's another one, folks. Astronomers are planning to send radio messages to Earth-like worlds within a range of 20 light years. For decades, the SETI Institute has been listening out for signs of extraterrestrial radio communications in an attempt to discover whether or not intelligent life might exist elsewhere in the universe. Now, in an effort to step up their efforts, scientists are planning to start broadcasting radio messages of their own into the depths of space in an attempt to attract the attention of any curious extraterrestrials who might be listening out in our direction. I've got a suggestion. If they want to get a response, they need to send out Late Night in the Midlands. Send that out there to these distant areas of space, and I'm sure that they'll respond because they'll want to subscribe to Late Night in the Midlands. I'm guessing. Anyways, back to reality here. To maximize the chances of being picked up, the messages would be directed towards stars around which potentially habitable planets have already been discovered by astronomers. There could be many civilizations out there, but if they are all listening and no one is broadcasting, then nothing will happen, said SETI's chief executive David Black. One question is, if we go ahead, what message should we send? should it be the work of a few scientists, or should we involve the whole world, perhaps through the internet? See, I just suggested late night in the Midlands. See, I wasn't that far off. While many scientists have approved of their project or the project, some, such as Professor Stephen Hawkins, have criticized the endeavor as dangerous on the basis that broadcasting our existence could have dire consequences if the message were to be picked up by a hostile extraterrestrial race. Oh, you mean like us? We are the hostile extraterrestrial race. If aliens do visit us, the outcome would be much as when Columbus landed in America, he says, which didn't turn out well for the Native Americans. This is what Stephen Hawking's apparently said. Well, I have news for you. It'd be much, much different than when Columbus landed in America. Much different than that. First off, people might not be being slaughtered. Well, anyways, we won't get into all that. But yeah, it'd be a lot different. I mean, think about it. We have a much bigger knowledge of the universe and the possibilities thereof than maybe the Native Americans did some time ago. Now, maybe. I mean, they probably knew and seen things just as well. But anyways, it's linked up on the website. NASA reveals far side of the moon. Our good friend, may he rest in peace, Don, always thought the moon was evil. He said the evil moon, he called it. Well, NASA has now revealed, so they say, the far side of the moon, using almost 5 years of mapping data from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. NASA is able to show what the far side of the moon actually looks like. The side of the moon, which cannot be viewed from the Earth, has been mapped by NASA and shown in a video. The footage was created after nearly 5 years of mapping data from the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter. The far side of the moon is a sacred, I don't know how they'd know that, but it's a sacred area which is known as South Pole Aitken. That is linked up, so go check it out. Obama asked for worldwide war authority to go after ISIS. Here we go, folks. That is Presidente Barack Obama, will soon give Congress his proposal for a new authorization for the use of military force against Islamic State fighters, and it will place strict limits on the types of U.S. ground forces that can be deployed, according to congressional sources. More war, folks, more war. The Monarch Massacre. Nearly 1 billion butterflies have vanished. Threatened animals like elephants, lions, and different creatures of the forest grab the headlines. But what's happening to monarch butterflies is nothing short of a massacre. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service summed it up in just one grim statistic on Monday. Since 1990, about 970 million, again, that's 970 million, have vanished. It happened as farmers and homeowners sprayed herbicides, that is pesticides, on milkweed plants, which serve as the butterfly's nursery, food source, and home. In an attempt to counter 2 decades of destruction, the Fish and Wildlife Service launched a partnership with 2 private conservation groups, the National Wildlife Federation and the National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, to basically grow milkweed like crazy in the hopes of saving the monarchs. That's linked up. I'll tell you, folks, this die-off, we got a lot of things dying off on this planet. Just a matter of time before it's us. As a matter of fact, it could be us. I mean, look at cancer. You look at different diseases that could be avoided, in my opinion. Well, anyways, Moving right along here. Hawaiian independence movement attracts Chinese interest. Honolulu, China has suggested arming Hawaii's independence activists in retaliation for U.S. arms sales to Taiwan and recently threatened to challenge American sovereignty by making legal claims to Pacific Islands as its territory. Chinese threats to back several groups of Hawaiian independence activists who want to restore the island's constitutional monarchy, ousted in a U.S. backed coup over a century ago. And it's raised concerns that military facilities on the strategic Central Pacific are threatened at a time when the Obama administration is engaged in a major shift toward Asia as part of its military and diplomatic rebalance. So that's linked up as well. And listen, Hawaii, you don't want nothing to do with China or the United States. Do it on your own. You don't want, well, certainly the United States isn't going to help you anyways. But if China was to help you, it would only be politically driven, and you don't want that. You want to stay away from that. So yeah, Hawaii looking to get their independence back after being seized by those who have now seized the United States a long time ago, as a matter of fact. Republican FCC member warns net neutrality is not neutral. Ajit Pai, the sole Republican commissioner on the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, inferred in a tweet that President Barack Obama's secret 332-page net neutrality document is a scheme for federal micromanaging of the internet to extract billions in new taxes from consumers and again enforce progressives' idea of honest, equitable, and balanced content fairness. In other words, folks, what they want to do is take complete control over the internet to prevent, people like myself from giving you the real news, telling you what's going on. FCC Chairman Tom Wheeler recently acknowledged that the two Democrats on the commission had decided to avoid congressional input regarding the internet by adopting President Franklin Roosevelt's 1934 Communications Act to regulate the internet with the same federal control as the old AT&T customer monopoly. President Obama's 332-page plan to regulate the internet, total scheme. They don't expect you to read between the lines, folks. I'm telling you, it's all about getting control of the internet and shutting us down. Shows like this, people like you, from getting to the information and from spreading the information. That's what they're doing. And once they could do that, they'll get the guns. Like I said, guns, internet. Once they've got those, the full plan will go into effect. Snow sets record. No, not just records, but historic records in Boston. Boston, is this a list you want to be on? The MBTA said it is suspending Red Line service between Braintree and JFK UMass stations and Orange Line services between Oak Grove and Sullivan stations for the remainder of the day because of rapidly deteriorating conditions. They're calling it Snowmageddon. Now, that's also been used in the case of Western New York earlier this year. Of the past 2 weeks, moved Boston into the top 10 snowiest winters of all time on Monday. One newscaster, a local newscaster in Boston, said it's like the Energizer Bunny. It just keeps going. The seemingly never-ending snowfall gave Boston more than 73 inches for the winter, passing the 72.9 inches that fell during the winter of 1903 through 1904. So stay warm in Boston, folks. Lots of changes, lots of earth changes. We'll talk about that more when we return from this break with Betsy. That is Betsy Lewis, who is our guest tonight. So, folks, with that, hold on for a moment. We'll be right back. This is Late Night in the Midlands on the L&M Radio Network, and we'll be back in a moment. Don't go anywhere. All right. Now, before we take this break, let me tell you a little bit about my guest tonight. Earth Energy. That's what we're going to talk about. Return to Ancient Wisdom by Betsy Lewis. That is her new book. Author. She's a clairvoyant and Earth Mysteries investigator. Betsy Lewis inherited the gift of prophecy from her mother. As a small child, she experienced the paranormal, receiving prophetic dreams of earth changes taking place worldwide now. After her second UFO encounter at the age of 7, she was given a message of utmost importance, but told that, she must forget it until her adult years. Betsy has investigated UFOs, cattle mutilations, angels, aliens, and other Earth mysteries for the past 40 years. Betsy has also hosted the popular Rainbow Visions Network since 2009. Her website is www.betsylewis.com, and it's linked up on our homepage at latenightinthemidlands.com. So with that, folks, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will have my guest, Betsy Lewis. We'll be right back, everybody. Don't go anywhere. The L&M Radio Network and Late Night in the Midlands depends on you, the listener. Without you, there would be no us. So help us continue to bring you the best guests with the best information and subscribe today. Information on becoming an L&M subscriber can be found at the top of latenightinthemidlands.com. Just click the About Subscriptions tab and become part of the family while helping the truth stay alive. And while you're at it, maybe subscriptions aren't for you. A one-time donation helps as well. Click that donate button on the right side of latenightinthemidlands.com and help us help you.
Hello, this is Dick Farrell, here to tell you about OxySilver. Legally available only through CureShop.com and HealthyWorldStore.com. Don't be fooled buying silver products from copycats and criminals. You've heard Dr. Leonard Horowitz and experts urge you to avoid deadly vaccinations and illegal operators selling stolen OxySilver and OxySilver copycats. You've heard experts tell you about suppression in alternative medicine and confusing propaganda in healthcare and the truth movement. Read Dr. Horowitz's book, Healing Celebrations, to learn how miracle healings can be made to happen through faith, prayer, and a pure diet. Get great immunity using vitamin C, D, and OxySilver. Liquid Dentist GI Flora Pro, a top-shelf probiotic. Use Green Harvest as a great-tasting meal substitute for energizing organic nutrients and losing weight. And Zeolove, and natural clays for detoxifying your body. More advice, all these products and more are available from theCureShop.com. Including OxySilver, the world's most powerful silver hydrosol. Electro-energized to put risky injections, toxic antibiotics, and deadly drug pushers out of business. OxySilver is covalently bonded to water. Unlike any other silver product using the frequency of chlorophyll 528, what Dr. Horowitz explains is pure tone love, the universal healer. NASA originally developed covalently body silver hydrosols to keep astronauts healthy in space. Dr. Horowitz added the 528 frequency to NASA's formula and more. OxySilver works 3 ways to electrocute dangerous germs better than anything, far better than all leading silver products, and without any risk. OxySilver oxygenates and resonates with 528 for faster healing. So help save lives, putting drug lords and criminals out of business, and keep the LNM network broadcasting. Register for our free cooperative at healthworldaffiliates.com/4948. That's healthyworldaffiliates.com/4948. And buy OxySilver and other great products in package specials at great discounts from theCureShop.com. Buy OxySilver, GI Flora Pro, Green Harvest, Zeolove, and Love Minerals at great discounts at CureShop.com. That's CureShop.com with 2 P's. CureShoppe.com. Or call toll free at 1-888-621-7611. That's 1-888-621-7611. Do it now.
You have found a bright spot on the internet by listening to K98Talk.com, where our goal is information and entertainment with programming for the entire family. We take a fresh new look at topics that will spark your interest and more at K98Talk.com and the Spark Radio Network.
From all of us at the LNM Radio Network to all of you who have tuned in and showed your support in 2014, we wish you all a very happy 2015. Thanks to you, Late Night in the Midlands is on its way to 8 years and counting. The best guests with the best information and the best listeners around the world. Late Night in the Midlands. We cover everything. Join us every night from 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. Eastern on the LNM Radio Network, and join us every Sunday night at 12 a.m. Eastern on the Dark Matter Radio Network.
And as we have been programmed mentally, intellectually, one must be aware of this being programmed. Like a computer.
Programming that we are constantly assaulted by throughout our life conditions us. It programs us to a particular worldview.
The project is literally the secularization of the world. New secular or worldly order.
A new study says the news media have been pushing a gospel of godlessness on the American public.
Because this media is here and designed to make sure that they ask no critical questions. To make sure that the only thing that they are concerned about is having a good time. The only thing they're concerned about is filling their bellies. The only thing they're concerned about is acquiring more and more material things. And so that is why today, one of the struggles that you have as young people, that when you want to do different events and you want to talk about real issues, you have the struggle of many of your peers who've been so conditioned in this matrix that they would rather party than listen to the truth. They would rather party and shop and go to the mall than to stand up for issues of justice. They're stuck in the matrix. But you have the responsibility of helping to wake them up.
Now, how do we know that there's a God? After having been thoroughly brainwashed. And how do we know that there's a creator?
Just put the needle
Ladies and gentlemen, some of this interview has been lost in cyberspace somewhere, but we'll bring you what we have been able to salvage of our interview with Betsy Lewis, scheduled for tonight here on Late Night in the Midlands. Enjoy.
And I just know that this other spirit world exists. And that's just the amazing things. That's something that we all forget about because we get so involved in our material world that we forget that there is a spirit world. And are you still there, Michael?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Okay, I thought I lost you again. We forget that, our ancient ancestors talked about fairies and elves and gnomes and leprechauns and little people. And I think that these things do exist, these deities. Mountains are supposed to have incredible energy, just amazing energy. And there's part of it is because of the ions, the negative charged ions, which are there. Many people like Genghis Khan supposedly went to the top of the mountain to pray and have a vision. And Native Americans go to mountains, they climb mountains and have visions. And I've heard of other people that have gone to tall mountains that have had these incredible visions. So there's all this energy in our planet. And of course, we're energy. We forget that we're energetic beings, and what we do right now, look at the planet where we're at. We've got terrorists, we've got to worry about everything that's going on with the earth changes, the weather. There's so much stress in the world right now. There's so much fear, there's so much anger. And where do you think that energy goes, Michael?
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I mean, it's really not good. I mean, there is.
Yeah, it goes right back into the earth. I mean, we're dumping a lot of toxins, also pesticides and nuclear waste and everything else in the earth. But here we are with our emotions, and we're putting that in the earth. And we've got to think about that. I think one thing that we all need to do is start with ourselves, because I've had people ask, what can I do to help Earth? And it's just amazing what you can do. I mean, just one person, take care of yourself, honor your body, just start by taking care of yourself. Right now, so many people are overweight. We're not eating right. We're not, we've got to stay away from all these toxins. And that's one way to stop the manufacturers from putting all these toxins in,
Yeah, really. I say that to my listeners all the time. It's like, everybody gets mad and says, well, how are they doing this to us? And I say, well, because we're funding it. We're allowing it.
Yes. Oh, that's great, Michael. That's true. That's so true. Because we're allowing it.
Yeah, we are. Every time we buy their products, and then you'll hear people say, well, if you can't beat them, join them. Well, you're going to join them right in the ground is where you're going to join.
Exactly. My other spiritual teacher was Corbin Harney. He passed away in 2007, but he was the spiritual leader of the Shoshone Nation, and he was trying to stop all the nuclear testing in Nevada. And he was just amazing. He said, we all need to pray for everything, that everything needs to be prayed over. But, he just saw all these things that are changing and what's going on with the planet. And he talked about it all the time, that we've just got to get back to nature again and start realizing that we're connected to everything. And he, one thing he said, which really, I was like this too. He said he was always behind the bush. And what he meant was that he wouldn't stand up for, what he believed. He was afraid to speak out. He was afraid to tell people about his visions. And as he got older, he realized, this is why I'm here. I need to speak out, and we all need to tell our truth, to get out there and start saying, I've had enough, Let's
Yeah,
stop this.
we do. I mean, that's what I've been preaching, is that, we all need to come together, because the way I look at it, I mean, we're like goldfish in that fishbowl on the counter. We're just kind of crapping in our own water, and nobody's
We are.
changing it. So
I know.
eventually, we're going to suffocate in it. And
I know. He had visions that he said it's going to water talk to me. He said, and it told me I'm going to look like water, but someday you won't be able to drink me. And that's true. It's happening everywhere. And our oceans are dying. I mean, people think, oh, that's not true, but scientists are saying by 2015 there may not be any fish in the ocean. We're overfishing the oceans. We're dumping all kinds of garbage in the ocean, and it's breaking down everything. The whole, symbiotic relationship with everything. It's all breaking down. When one species dies, another dies. It's a domino theory. Everything starts dying, and it's sad. It just breaks my heart to see what's going on with our planet. I love this planet dearly, and I just don't want to see it destroyed. And we're the ones that can do something about it.
yeah, unfortunately, we're the ones that have put it in this predicament, and it's a shame that I could see people maybe act, and I don't support it in any way, but I could see people acting a little reckless if we had several other planets that we knew we could get to whenever we wanted to.
Right.
But this isn't a spare tire. This is the main one.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. There's only one planet, and Earth is so unique. I mean, we have water, we have oxygen. Everything is so perfect for us. We have animals, we have plants, we have medicinal plants, and I think there is a cure for every kind of disease out there with these beautiful medicinal plants, but the rainforests are being cut down. When I was in Belize during the 90s, I was there twice, in 93 and 96, and I saw rainforests being cleared, burned, cut down, burned, so they could plant orange groves and bananas and incredible things out there that could heal us. And it's all being destroyed. And of course, when trees are cut down, that changes the weather. The weather's changed, and everything has changed. They hold together the ground, and a lot of these areas that have been clear cut, they have floods, and all of a sudden the whole mountain comes down because of it. So, we've just got to take better care of our earth, because she's our Mother Earth. She's our mother.
She's all we got, as far as we know, anyways. And
right.
I mean, when I look out and I see, I see a lot of death within the forest here. You can see the tops of the trees burning out. That means that the sun might be getting hotter, or maybe we're getting more harmful rays in because of what we're doing to our atmosphere. I mean, it's just from top to bottom, we are destroying this planet, and we're the ones who are going to suffer in the end, because we'll be wiped out, and then the planet will heal itself.
Right. Well, right. And the cockroaches will survive, and they'll be the only thing that survive.
Yeah.
They survive anything, don't they?
Apparently they do. So, lucky them. But now, what about these star children? I've heard about the star children, and where do they come into play in all this?
Well, all these new children are coming in right now. They're beautiful, beautiful children, and they are vibrating at a higher rate than us. Each generation is becoming more evolved. And these children, I've watched these programs on TV about these children. They're just amazing. They are psychic. They remember past lives. They see spirits, and a lot of them are very confused, and their parents have no idea what to do with them, because they are so intuitive. And that's the sad part about it, because they're frightened of their gifts. Not all of them, but a great number of them. And also they bring in gifts of mathematics. They are artistic. They are musical. I mean, they're geniuses in what they are. There was a new series on TV. It was on the Lifetime channel. I'm not sure if it's still on. It was on Saturday evenings, called The Ghost Inside My Child. And it showed some of these children that remember past lives. Some of them remember being in World War II. And the really strange thing is they're coming back. They're reincarnating so quickly. And which is really strange, because they say most of the time, and I feel this is true, that people wait at least 100 years or more to come back, but they seem to have a mission to get here really quick, and make the changes with what's going on with the world. And I hope that, if you have any parents out there listening, I just hope they will take the time to teach their children these spiritual truths. And, read books. I've got my book, Earth Energy. There's a lot of great books out there about these new children coming in. They're called the Indigo Children. They've been called the Crystal Children, but they are here. They have arrived. And that's where we're going. We're going to be more evolved. We're going to be more compassionate, a new world. And I actually think that maybe the star beings are helping, in all this evolutionary change.
Well, I hope somebody is, because God knows we need it. Now, another one that I'm hearing a lot about, and then we can get back to the Earth a little bit. I guess this might have something to do with it, but is these black-eyed children. Now, what's the difference there? What's going on there?
Well, that's a good question, Michael. I interviewed David Weatherly, who wrote the book about the black-eyed children, and it's pretty frightening. I don't know what these children are. He said they have a terrible odor about them. They seem to bring bad luck. They haven't done anything horrible to anybody, but they knock on your door, supposedly, and want to come in. They insist on coming into your house, and no one's let them in yet. That's a good thing, I think. But one woman and her at a grocery store, and she left her son in the car, and I guess one of these black-eyed children came up to the boy, and he let him in. And after that, they had some really strange things happen. A lot of bad luck happened. Yeah, so it's pretty strange. So what they are, some people think they're demons. Some of them think they're extraterrestrials. Some of them think that it's something we've manifested, with all our negativity that we've created, some kind of new species. It's, who knows?
Yeah.
But they are pretty strange. And like if you get a knock on the door and you're alone and you see one of these children, they usually wear hoodies, but they have no whites in their eyes. What is that? The sclera, I think it's called, the whites that, humans have in their eyes. It's totally black. Like they're the Walking Dead or something. Maybe that's it.
Oh, jeez. Well, if that's the case, then I won't be opening the door for any of them either.
No, me neither. Me neither.
So in these prophecies, where does the ancient prophecy, where does it leave us? I mean, where do we end up? What's supposed to come out of all this? I mean, let's say that we stay on this path that we're on, and we continue to chop down the trees that we so badly need. We continue to poison the water and the air. Where does that leave us? Where does the prophecies tell us we're going to end up?
Well, Mother Earth will take care of herself. She has a way of doing it. And I think Earth goes through a cleansing every several thousand years. I do believe that. I think Atlantis, there were great civilizations at one time that had advanced technology, and their technology was their undoing for them, just like we're doing now. We many of us, according to Edgar Cayce, the late prophet and psychic, he said in a trance that most of the people coming in were a part of Atlantis. And there were two sides to the Atlanteans. There were those that were service to self, who wanted to war and use their technology to destroy, other civilizations. There were those that wanted to heal people, that were compassionate. They were service to others. And right now, that's what we're seeing with the planet. We've got two different types of people, those that are enlightened and those that are staying in the dark, the family of dark, I call them.
Yeah. So what would you suggest people do? How can people get better in tuned with the planet? Because I think you're right. I think the planet is just like a child or a human being would do. It's crying out. It's telling you, I'm sick. You're hurting me, and eventually it's just gonna be fed up and had enough. And unfortunately, we're gonna feel that wrath, I'm afraid.
Oh, I think so too. But in my book, I offer different things about getting back to the natural way, about foods, about ceremony. I offer different prayers by indigenous people, my own prayers, how to grow your own garden. I talk about that. I don't tell you how exactly to do it, but how to use more natural things, how to just, let's see, I've got all kinds of things in here. I talk about fluoride toothpaste. We don't realize all the toxins in our foods and everything. Lauryl sulfate, that's in everything. That's in our shampoos and everything. And, I was reading, the only reason they use it is because it's cheap. And it has a toxic effect on all of us. We wonder why all these children out there have autism. I've never seen anything like it. Children with cancer. When I was growing up in the 50s, I don't remember anybody in my school that had cancer, that was sick. I don't remember obesity. We would get out, we would play outdoors all the time. We were climbing, hills and doing all kinds of things, riding bikes and swimming. And I just don't see that with kids like that anymore. I don't know. I worry about kids today. I really do. And I know that my teachers, Ed McGaw and Corbin, talked about the youth, and they were worried that they were getting away from the spiritual values that we all need to hold. We have to have that heart energy. We have to keep that and hold it.
Yeah, I agree there. When I was a kid, we had video games, and certainly they weren't nothing like what they have today. But despite that, they were video games, and we were kids. But you know what? I'd rather be outside. I went outside. I rode my bike. I went swimming, like you said. We used to go down to the Genesee River Gorge in Rochester, and it's a long way down. And we used to climb the side. There was like trails and cliffs, and we used to climb up and down those 4 or 5 times a day.
Oh yeah, and our parents weren't worried about us then. I was doing that too. I would take off and I would go hiking into the mountains or the cliffs, climbing cliffs, and something could have happened to me, but they weren't worried about it.
Yeah, exactly. And in class, I think we might have had one overweight child in a classroom here or there, but right. That was because of their eating habits. It wasn't because of the chemicals that are be putting in the food. So and cancer, very rare. It's like once in a while you'd hear of somebody's aunt or uncle who had cancer,
right, they were elderly, right?
Yeah, but now it's like I guarantee you can go door to door, and every single house in this country that people know somebody or has someone in their family that has cancer. Yeah.
The thing is, the earth, we are mirroring what's going on with the earth. It's kind of going back and forth. What we are doing to ourselves, we're doing to the earth, and the earth is doing back to us. We've just got to get where we're in balance, and that's called Ayni. It's AYNI, what the indigenous people call getting back into balance. We have to get back into that balance because we're just so out of balance right now. And like I said, getting back into ceremony. It doesn't have to be indigenous ceremony, and I give different things that we can do in my book to get back to energy, to Mother Earth, and go up and hug a tree, talk to the tree. Corbin was great about that. He said we have to get back to praying for all things because everything is alive. We've Everything's got a life and a spirit to it. He said, go out and talk to everything. And how many people go out and maybe talk to the plants? There are many experiments that tell us that plants have a consciousness, and we don't think so. Kirlian photography has shown us that. There are stories that I have in my book about Findhorn, which was an amazing place in the UK where they grew these huge plants, and the soil was just horrible. They had to bring in certain things to, help the soil. But I'll give you a perfect example of how smart plants are.
Okay.
We all have dandelions, right, in our yards.
Yeah.
And in the wild, they grow at least a foot tall. But in your yard, they stay very low. And isn't it funny that when you bring out the lawnmower, those little dandelions always duck, right?
Yeah.
They know. They've evolved, so they know how to protect themselves in a yard. Isn't that clever of them?
I'll be. That makes a lot of sense because, yeah, if you go into a field that's not mowed on a regular basis or just left alone, they do get real tall.
Oh, they do. They do. Yeah. Yeah.
That is fascinating. I never thought of that.
That's true. Yeah. And according to Luther Burbank, he was the botanist. He invented a cactus that had no spines to it, so it could be fed to cattle. And he enticed the plant to do that, I guess. And I don't know if it was a great thing for the plant, but somehow, plants listen to us. They evolve, they hear us. And it's kind of interesting. In 1966, I went to a spiritualist church in Watts, California. This is right after the Watts riot, a couple of years before. And these people were so wonderful. They just, I was the only white person in this church, and they gave me a plant to pray over, and I had never seen this. And they all had these incredible, beautiful plants that were growing in the church. And they told me that they pray over them, and that's how they were growing. So I learned a lesson from that experience, and that was in 1966.
Yeah, and I've even done that myself. I'm the type of person who, if I have a plant on my desk, I will talk to it. Or if I go outside to sit, I will talk to whatever's around me. I had plants that I talked to that did fantastic, and then I had plants that I never bothered with, and they were always look dingy and ready to die.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. And plants love music too. If you have certain music for plants, they absolutely love that.
Yeah.
How did you learn all that, Michael? Is it something you just grew up knowing, or?
Well, it was it used to be a myth growing up where people would say, "Oh, talk to the plants." Well, I used to do it. I mean, I didn't think it was a myth. I mean, they're alive, and there's been tests done that, if they had one test where they would start up, say, a weed whacker next to these plants, and they had them hooked up to different wires, and they would send signals, and these plants would be, very stressed when that weed whacker, I guess they'd pick up the vibration from it, and they would get very stressed out. So
sure.
They do have a consciousness, and they are alive, and they do have an energy source that keeps them alive, just like we do. Call it a soul, call it what you will, but they're very much alive. And I think every plant on this earth is here for a reason. And I don't think any of us have the right to play God and take them. I mean, and here's another thing. Dandelions, they're very, very good for you, as a matter of fact, too.
They are full of vitamin C.
Yeah, but yet we call them a weed. Oh, they don't look good in our beautiful green lawns, so they got to go.
I know. We're so silly, aren't we?
We're selfish is what we are.
Well, we are. You're right. We are. And I love this about the Aboriginals from Australia. They have an incredible legend that says that they came from another planet that was being destroyed far away from our Earth, and they came to Earth, and they knew that the Earth needed to have an energy grid erected because the Earth was just, it needed help. And so they came to do that. And what's incredible is that they call it the sacred rainbow serpent. And that is part of the energy grid. But they said right now what's going on, that they're very concerned about the energy grids of the Earth because of all the things that are being taken out of the Earth. We're taking the oil, we're taking the gas, we're taking the uranium, we're taking all the minerals, and that's what holds the balance together, the grid together. And I think that's really interesting, and it really makes sense because, how can we keep taking the water out of the Earth? That's Mother's lifeblood. Mother Earth needs that.
Yeah.
We're just insane sometimes, I think.
You're right. And then, what really concerns me most of anything, I think, right now are all the nuclear power plants that we have around the planet, and some of them that are not good condition. You look at Fukushima, and it's pouring into the ocean, and it's going to kill the ocean off. I mean, there's people who say, oh, the ocean's big, it'll dilute. Look, it don't belong there. That's the bottom line. It shouldn't be in the water like that and in the air. So
you're right, Michael.
We're poisoning it.
And the scary thing is about nuclear waste is it may take up to 1,000 years or more for it to disappear, or maybe never. From the different articles that I've read, even plastics take hundreds of years, and it breaks up into little pieces, and goes into the ocean, where they're dumping all this plastic and everything. Plastic doesn't break up. And look at all the plastic we're putting in landfills and all the stuff we're putting. I even write about that, what we're doing with the landfills. Oh my gosh, get away from plastics, use glass, use pottery, or, just get away from all this plastic. We're using plastic bags like crazy. We didn't have plastic bags when I was growing up. We used paper bags. And I know you say, well, you're cutting down trees and that's, but.
But you don't have to, though, because, one thing, there's other plants that can be used, such as industrial hemp can be used to make bags and even building supplies.
Right. And we're not doing it. I mean, there's, we could use natural energy from the sun, from the wind. There's just so many other sources. But here we are, like you said, the nuclear energy. And we know that it's, we can't control it. And Fukushima is, 3 Mile Island and Chernobyl are all examples of what's happened with, radiation. And there's still, we don't even know the full effects of Fukushima. And if it's still going in the water, I think so. And they're building it right over tectonic plates and seismic areas. Now that's insanity, Michael.
It is. It's almost like they want disasters.
Yeah.
So, well, we're in some trying times right now. I'll tell you that. If we survive one thing, we've got 100 other things to worry about.
Right. No, that's so true, but I'm thankful for people like you, Michael, that are getting out there and talking about these things and making people more aware. And that's where it starts. You're not behind the bush, like Corbin said. You're getting out there, you're talking your talk and walking your walk. And that's great. We all need to do that. And I just hope more and more people would do that. I see trash, in parks. I get so upset. People can't recycle their plastic. It's thrown all over, trash everywhere. It's in our national forests. Come on, be responsible. Start picking up things. Start caring about Mother Earth, about the animals and about yourselves. Honor yourself, everything.
Yeah, and anything that we use, it should either be biodegradable or it should be recycled. And if we can't do either one of those things, then it shouldn't even be used.
Right. When you go to the grocery store, take your cloth bags. Instead of getting plastic. Get your cloth out, and there's lots of cloth bags that you can buy, and that's a great way to do it. Just think of all the different things. The cleansers that we use are so toxic. Vinegar and water, soda, baking soda makes an excellent, scrubbing. There's just so many things that we can use and get back to the natural way of life.
Yeah, there is. And I'll bring any plastic bags I have, I'll bring those back to the store and reuse them if I can.
Good for you.
And at times, like if I'm doing projects like I don't know, like my studio, and drywalling or what have you, I'll actually insulate the walls sometimes with this stuff,
Right.
just to get rid of it. I mean, it's overused. There's no need for it. And and that's just like the water bottles. I mean, my God, the plastic, and it's not good for us. The chemicals get into the water that we're drinking. So
Right.
There's consequences for all our actions. And
Oh, there is.
and just like something simple like water in a bottle. Okay, you're not supposed to be using that plastic. And I've said that with the oil too. How do we know that oil's not supposed to just stay where it is? How do we know that the earth doesn't need it for some reason?
Oh, I think it lubricates the tectonic plates. I think it's more needed than anything. And I think fracking has had a horrible effect on the earth with all these swarm earthquakes. If we take something out, it's like dehydrating something like an orange. We're taking all the juice out of it, and it's going to collapse. Something's going to happen.
That's very good analogy there. Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. And they say, oh, well, we refill those cavities with water and this and that. Well, that's not what's supposed to be there. You're taking out the natural balance of the planet. And the fact is, we could. There's other means of energy too. We don't need to be doing this. Yet we do it because you got a lot of people who a lot of them are older. They've been running the country and the world for a long time, and they don't care. It's like, well, it's all about the money. It's about the power and the fame.
Right.
It's a shame.
It is a shame, and I think about all these wealthy people out there and so much more that they could do than buying their Mercedes or their Rolls Royce or
Well, a lot of good that Rolls Royce or Mercedes is going to do them when
the earth changes.
Yeah, when the ocean levels have been rising too, and that's another thing. So we've got a lot going on here, and well, Betsy, what I'd like to do is I'd like to give you the floor. I mean, what else would you like to get out there and tell people, and certainly where they can get the book and all that good stuff. And I know you're going to be having an appearance on Coast, I think, this month too, aren't you? Or
yeah, we haven't determined the date yet. It'll probably be this month or the 1st of March.
Okay. All right. So.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. I appreciate that.
Sure.
My website is betsylewis.com. That's BetsyLewis.com. I have my Earth News One blog on my website, and I tell everything that's going on, with the sun, because the sun affects what's going on with the earth and earthquakes. We've had a lot of swarm earthquakes, and I get these feelings, if something's going to happen. I get the nausea, I get the vertigo, so I know when a big earthquake's going to hit, and I put my predictions on there. You can also, I've got a prediction page on there, so go to that. A lot of my predictions are already coming true. And my book is available, Earth Energy, Return to Ancient Wisdom. That's available on Amazon and softcover and Kindle. And, I just want to tell everybody, trust your intuition, because we're all going to feel what's going on with the earth right now. Trust it. Coastal areas, you're going to see a lot of water, wind, and inundation. We're just going to see crazy weather. It's going to increase. So be prepared, get the extra supplies you need, flashlights, emergency kit, just be prepared because you never know. And we keep hearing about these, these huge storms, people aren't prepared. They don't have enough food. They don't have this, they don't have that. And don't depend on the government to help you or FEMA because they're not. When things start happening in a big way, you're not going to get that help. You have to depend on yourselves, your neighbors, your friends, your family. And that's where it all starts.
Absolutely. It'll be every man for himself. FEMA, they got families too.
That's right.
So do the police and all them. And when things really start rocking, the boat really starts rocking, they're going to be thinking of their families. And I hope that everybody's thinking of theirs too and preparing themselves. There's things that you could do to prepare, like, just simple things like having extra batteries, battery-powered radios, flashlights, extra food that's that'll last a while, water, just those things, and certainly spreading the message. And it starts with each one of us. I think people say all the time, how do we change the world? How do we change the way it is? Well, it starts with you at home. Start with you and set an example.
Right. That's so true.
Well, Betsy, I thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, Michael, it's so true. I just want to say one more thing. The Dalai Lama said, and I love this, he says, if you think you're too small to make a difference, try sleeping with a mosquito. Think about that.
I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much. We're going to keep you linked up at latenightmidlands.com. And once I get all this equipment fixed, we can get you back for a full show in the near future.
Oh, that sounds great, Michael. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you very much, and have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. So, folks, that will do it for tonight. I'm sorry for a short show, but we lost a good portion of tonight's show. That's why I can't stand doing podcasts. I like to be live. We'll be back live on Thursday, maybe Wednesday, most definitely Thursday, though. Folks, keep your eyes posted to the sky because you never know what you might see. And keep your ears posted to this broadcast because you never know what you might learn. Good night, everybody.